Hey, Patrick here, and I realize it's been a really long time since I posted a video on the SFX-100, and I know some of you wanted some more information on the 3D printed enclosure for the SFX-100 shield. So I'm going to go through the steps of downloading the files for the enclosure and some recommended settings for how to slice it in your slicer and prepare it for 3D printing so that it will work as well as possible. So let's get started. First of all, I will put a link down in the description to the GitHub page. This is the same place you can go to download the circuit board. Right here in the group by edition folder, and we have the Eagle files, which are for the PCB, Gerber files also for the PCB, and the enclosure, which is what we're going to get into today. Now there are a number of files in here. There's a little README that you can check out with some recommended settings. We've got a 0.2 layer height, 20% infill, and 4 perimeters. And then the screw sizes that I recommend for mounting the shield to the enclosure. If we go back to the enclosure, let's look at the different versions of this box that we have. The first box is this one here, which is the one I made first. It just has these little feet on the bottom of it with room for an M3 cap head screw, so you can just mount that to whatever you want to mount it to. There is also a version with no feet, so if you don't plan on mounting it. And then I had a request for a version that uses a M8 screw mounting that's just on the ends here, so that's what this one is. It gives you a couple of M8 mount points. If you want to mount it to some extrusion or somewhere on the rig, you can do that. So that is the box files. You just need one of those, whichever one works best for you. And then there's two choices for the lid. We have the regular lid that just has these little tabs that snap right into the top of the box. And then there's a lid with a logo. You can kind of see it's got a sim feedback logo on it there. And they're otherwise identical. This one might provide a little bit more ventilation because of the logo, but either one of those lids will work. So let's grab the files. There's the SFX-100 shield box, the M8 feet, and we'll grab the lid with the logo, download that. So now we have these two files downloaded. Let's go check out our downloaded files folder. So we have an STL for the lid and an STL for the box. So next thing we're going to do is open up the slicing software for the 3D printer. I have a Prusa printer. That's kind of hard to say 3 times fast. Prusa printer, Prusa printer, Prusa printer. And we're going to open up the Prusa Slicer software. Inside Prusa Slicer, let's bring in the files that we're going to print. And I'm going to bring in the shield lid and the shield box. And let's open them up. And there's plenty of room on my build plate for both of these. So I should be able to just lay them out on the build plate like this. And they do come in the correct orientation for printing, at least in this slicer. You want the top surface of the lid to be making contact with the print bed, and the bottom surface of the box should be making contact with the print bed. And that will allow you to print this thing without any supports. And so there's nothing in here that technically needs supports. This hole here will probably print just fine with bridging by default. However, there is one thing in here that through some trial and error I found needed an adjustment. By default in Prusa Slicer with the 0.2 layer height preset for PLA, the number of perimeters that it prints around these screw holes, it defaults to 2. And I have found that you need more perimeters to give it some structural integrity so that when you put the machine screw in, it has enough bulk there to really grab the thread. So the change that I recommend making is if we go into the print settings, under vertical shells and perimeters, we want to increase the number of perimeters from 2 to 4. Now I'm going to actually leave it at 2, and we'll slice this and take a look at what it does, and then we'll compare it to what it does with 4 perimeters. So if you see, we come in here, we've got these 2 perimeters on this inner surface and 2 perimeters on the outer surface. And then the rest of it is infill. And this is what kind of causes these to be weak and cause problems when you try to install the screws. So let's switch this over to 4 perimeters, and we will reslice, and you'll see that now we have a nice concentric set of rings that doesn't have any infill in it. It's nice and strong. It's gonna have enough rigidity to hold those machine screws. So this is now ready to print. So I am going to export the G-code, and we will drop this here, and that is now ready to go. All right, so now you should have your shiny new enclosure all printed out. And to install the Shield and Arduino into the enclosure, we're just going to fit them together. And then you kind of have to slide it in at an angle here so that the board goes in underneath those little retention tabs at the top, on the top left and top bottom. And you can see that there are a number of screw holes. Those are for the M3 screws that are listed in the README if you just get those lengths. The 4 longer ones fit on the left and the 2 shorter ones fit on the right, and the lid snaps right onto the top, and you're good to go. All right, so that's everything. This is the completed SFX-100 enclosure and shield, and you should now be able to get this thing plugged into your computer and fire up your racing rig. So good luck with the project, and thanks again for all your support. It's been really fun working on this project and sharing it with everyone, and we'll see you out there on the track. Take care. Bye.